a lot of managers I've talked to stop by their properties once a year, once a quarter, maybe.
Yeah.
How often do you recommend we stop by our rental properties?
Well, for our projects that we're working on now, it's almost every day. Maybe not the weekend.
But those are specifically for value add projects?
Yeah. So there's rehab projects going on, and there's usually a need for a visit for one reason or another. But I think at least once a week, to be honest.
What about stabilized properties? How often do you recommend stopping by those?
Well, I guess it kind of depends. If it's a single family home, that's a different story. There's less things that are going to happen with one tenant. But if you have a 6 or 10 unit, then there's 6 or 10 potential things that could be going on. The more people you have, the more potential little issues there are, even if it's just general cleanup around the property. But I personally err on the side of having a greater presence because we're invested in the C-class assets. And I think those assets typically don't get the best customer service. So if you provide that, then you're going to have much better tenant retention, and you're going to start to get referrals. And I think it just leads to a better customer experience, which leads to better occupancy and better performance in the asset.
So I guess one takeaway from this little discussion is just whichever property you're buying, consider the proximity of yourself or your manager, so that you can have that high presence level, especially in the lower classes where, probably in any class, where, like you just said, when tenants see you there, they're going to recognize that you care.
Yeah, and I think a lot of tenants, they don't really, they shy away from communicating issues, whether it's maybe the trash company didn't pick up the trash one week. Everyone's kind of expecting someone else to call and let someone know. Or there's just some rubbish around the property. Everyone's probably thinking that someone else will make the call, or even if there's a repair that needs to happen in a unit. A lot of times tenants don't really want to bother the management, and they might see it as a negative. But if there's a presence on site on a regular basis, we can catch that stuff that people are either waiting for someone else to call in about, or just kind of kicking the can down the road on and not calling about. So it lets us be more proactive with keeping things running properly.
Want to hear more on this topic? Click the link below for the full episode of Maximizing Your Property Value.